For all of its inherent awfulness, at least the internet has given us the likes of the Grimace Shake craze, Barbenheimer, and anything to do with Pedro Pascal in it this year alone. But mimetic humour doesn't just pass around Facebook and Twitter, it sometimes gets immortalised in other forms of media. This list will explore just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to jokes that have taken on such a life of their own that they found their way into unexpected virtual worlds. I'm Cy for WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 secret memes hidden in video games. Number 10, the cake is a lie, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There might be few, if any, video game memes that have exploded quite like Portal's legendary non sequitur. If you've been on the internet any time in the last decade, you've seen it. If you were online in 2007, you couldn't move for it. It was so constant that people got pretty sick of the cake being a lie, and so Portal 2 made almost no follow-up to it, which is fine because it spread to all other kinds of media. For context, if it's at all needed, the meme refers to a false promise made by the experiment-obsessed AI GLaDOS in Valve's classic Puzzler. The suggestion of cake is used as a humorous motivator. However, in various spots outside of the game's test chambers, there are mad scrawlings on the walls, one line repeating over and over, "The cake is a lie." Ironically, "the cake is a lie" is also a meme because of the game's final shot that reveals that it actually does exist. A very direct reference to not just the line, but the entire point behind it can be found in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In Essex lives a man named Chad the Riddler, who tasks the player with 3 brain teasers and the promise of cake as a prize. The actual prize for getting all 3 correct is 20 pieces of silver because, of course, the baked goods were a falsehood. Number 9, Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man's 60s cartoon was inadvertently funny. Because of the show's low budget, it often produced odd animation moments or framing set to simple backdrops that have created a slew of image macros. Perhaps one of the most infamous of these is the Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man meme, which comes from the episode Double Identity. The meme saw a particular spike in the lead up to the movie Spider-Man No Way Home, where it was suspected that Tom Holland, the current MCU Spider-Man, would be joined by previous Peter Parker actors Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. The fever pitch was so high, in fact, that the 3 had to recreate the image themselves when on set during the filming of the movie. Thankfully, Insomniac Games continued this legacy with Spider-Man 2. As the first game that features the player swapping between Peter Parker and Miles Morales, it was primed for a reference to the classic. It's also totally missable. Occasionally, when responding to random crimes in the streets of New York City, you might be assisted by your spider friend. When the fight is done, there's a chance to interact with the other character, which will randomly give off one of several potential animations. One of these, of course, is the 2 pointing at each other in the most wonderful "they did the thing" way possible. Number 8, Craig, Halo Infinite. The Halo franchise is in a weird place right now, and the gameplay reveal of 2021's Infinite certainly didn't help. The trailer was lambasted for its underwhelming graphical fidelity, not looking at all like what people were hoping for out of the next generation of Halo. One particular moment that caught everyone's eye spread like wildfire. A particularly deadpan brute who got the endearing nickname of Craig became the internet's new favourite little guy. Even with the blowback to the game overall, Xbox and 343 Industries weren't shy about embracing the love for the gormless alien and using it in their own social media posts. So that being said, it's no great surprise that it ended up in the game in some form. After all, Halo has a history of including a few unlockable or secret gags over the years, like particularly odd grunt dialogue, or the legendary difficulty exclusive scene at the end of the first game where Sergeant Johnson embraces an elite as they're both blown to smithereens. Craig himself is presumably on tour, but his merchandise can be found at the top of Chak Lok's tower in the game, which is accessible via the grapple shot or a vehicle. Here, players will find a stage, musical instruments, and Craig's own debut album. At least he's doing well for himself these days. Number 7, The Dress, Just Cause 3. You know a meme is big when it can have a title as all-consuming as The Dress. The Dress, the only one that mattered if 2015 social media had anything to say about it. This is of course referring to the infamous blue and black dress that looked white and gold to some and sparked a huge debate. The dress itself is in fact blue, but because of a lighting trick, people were convinced it was gold. The two sides went to social media warfare, announcing their allegiance with hashtags and various memes that spiraled from there. Just Cause 3, which launched 10 or so months after the initial hashtag The Dress Tumblr post, contains a not so subtle reference to it found on the balcony of a building in Citate di Ravello. Here the player can find 2 women at either ends of the building wearing 2 different dresses, one false white and gold and one correct black and blue. There's not much more to it beyond that, but it's funny that a silly online debate has been immortalised in a Square Enix game. You can grapple the 2 women together if you like to compare the 2, but why bother? Blue and black is the truth, reject the white and gold non-believers. Number 6, my Cabbages, Baldur's Gate Gate 3. Not every meme goes quite as widespread as some, several stay within their specific communities. Baldur's Gate 3, for example, contains a character that acts as a reference to Avatar: The Last Airbender that, if you hadn't seen the show before, you might not even pick up on. Throughout Avatar, there's a recurring gag character in the form of a cabbage merchant. Repeatedly, through the unfortunate circumstances of being near Aang and his monastic friends, his cabbages are usually destroyed in some form, prompting him to shout to the heavens, "My cabbages!" In Baldur's Gate 3, players come across a merchant by the name of Giza Laris who is standing next to an overturned cart of cabbages. Before interacting with him, he's already given players who recognise it the classic line, but goes on to explain that it's not easy to get the vegetable into the city. Unless, of course, you're a monk, which is where this reference goes one step further. If you picked this class at the start of the game, Laris recognises you as a threat. He says you're kind of done enough damage as it is, either implying that the cart was overturned by other monks in the first place, or as some players choose to believe, he is the cabbage salesman from Avatar who has somehow crossed dimensions. Number 5, the Skeleton War, Fallout 76. Twitter, or X if you'd prefer, is a bit of a hell site these days. People are quite rightfully jumping off the platform because it's just not fun anymore. Gone are the days where you were likely to scroll, do that little laugh where you exhale through your nose and then just go on your merry way. Glory be then to the @Drill account, who at the time of speaking is still active and as irreverently silly as ever. The anonymous account, standing at 1.8 million followers, is so popular that it has its own Wikipedia page. It's also got its own shout out in Bethesda's Fallout franchise. Found in Braxton's Quality Medical Supplies in Fallout 76, a note called Skeleton Extraction Guide details a fairly grim procedure for preparing a skeleton for mounting on one's wall like a demented trophy. Despite being fairly macabre, it ends on a much more humorous note. If your tombstone doesn't read "Rest in Peace" or some variant thereof, you are automatically drafted into the Skeleton Wars. This is a direct reference from Fallout 76 level designer Zachary Wilson to a classic Drill tweet from 2013 which reads almost exactly the same. It's good advice. Fallout already has enough problems with radioactive wastelands and deathclaws. We don't need to add corpse warfare into the mix. Number 4, you're breathtaking, Cyberpunk 2077. This is perhaps one of the nicest examples of a meme coming full circle. The hype for Cyberpunk 2077 before its release was incredibly high for numerous reasons. CD Projekt Red had over-delivered with Witcher 3, and the futuristic city RPG concept was fresh and exciting. Perhaps most incredible, of course, was the reveal that action movie megastar, perennial heartthrob, and all-around good guy Keanu Reeves would have a starring role. More than this, Reeves appearing on stage at E3 2019 is one of the best moments in the history of the event. The former Neo looked comfortable on stage, unlike most celebs at E3. It was a genuine surprise, and it delivered an all-timer of a meme when a crowd member took his speech and threw it back at him by yelling, "You're breathtaking." Reeves, laughing, simply struck a pose, pointed to the crowd, and said it back. The word appears as not just an achievement in the game, but the moment itself is recreated by Night City musician Kerry Eurodyne. Completely missable if you're not looking at the right time, there's a moment where Kerry is facing down his adoring public and a member of the press yells those infamous words at him. Kerry recreates Keanu perfectly, enthusiastic point and all. Number 3, Potato Jesus, Hitman. Potato Jesus is a rather crude but hilarious name for an infamously off-brand restoration of a famous painting of Jesus Christ. This botched piece of art went viral in 2012. Someone at IO Interactive was clearly a fan of the unfortunate fellow and decided to make a reference to it. What's most remarkable about this particular entry is that it's one of those video game secrets that took literal years to find. Sapienza was added to the original World of Assassination Hitman game in April 2016, and its hidden meme wasn't discovered until October 2018. In the defense of all players who walked on by the piece, it was just hanging among other paintings at a church, just blending in. Taking a closer look, however, revealed the potato-y truth. That's not the end of it, because the meme has actually appeared in 2 games in the series. Perhaps as a homage to the time that it took to discover the first time, Potato Jesus returned for Hitman 3 in 2021. It can be found in Mission 3 in a storage room of club owner Mr. Hirschmuller's office. He's either a lover of fine art or fine memes. Actually, because of its popularity, Potato Jesus has proven to be a successful tourist attraction for the Spanish town it resides in, so it holds value either way. Number 2, Dopefish, Doom Eternal. They might be known better for frenetic FPS games, but originally id Software cut their teeth on the Commander Keen platformers. In Commander Keen Goodbye Galaxy, players could come across a green buck-toothed fish named the Dopefish. id Software were clearly taken by this hideous creation, and it went on to appear as a discoverable secret in the original Doom and the original Quake. From here, the ball started to roll as other the developers wanted to pay homage to the little aquatic rascal. The dopefish can be found in Deus Ex Human Revolution, Alan Wake, Psychonauts, and so on. For a particular highlight, we return to id Software and Doom Eternal, which goes quite some distance to celebrate the company's original mascot character. Not only can the Doomslayer don Commander Keen-inspired skins, the dopefish appears repeatedly through the game. 3 bulbous monuments to the beast can be found in the level Cultist Base. More than this, the dopefish is mentioned on the spine of a book in Doomslayer's Fortress entitled From Nopefish to Dopefish, A Dope Tale. He's also apparently become a mascot for a food brand, as Dope Nuts and Dope Chan Candy can be found in the Ark Carrier. Oh, and he's also responsible for chainsaws, since Doomslayer's bladed weapon is emblazed with Mixium Bucktooth Dope Saw, which also doubles as a Doom 3 reference. There's almost as much dopefish in this game as there are demons. And number 1, All Your Base, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. In terms of internet memes, All Your Base is in the Hall of Fame. It originated in the late 1990s when early World Wide Web adopters all shared and delighted in the poorly translated opening of 1989 Sega title Zero Wing. What was perhaps more impactful than the hilarious dialogue itself, however, was a music video that accompanied it. Bad CRC's Newgrounds video paired a remix of the game's theme with a robotic voice and dozens of photoshopped images of the phrase "All your base are belong to us" appearing all over the world. It was like a prediction for the spread of memetic culture. Since then, All Your Base has appeared in other video games, films, and has even been tweeted by American politician AOC as recently as 2019. To show its longevity, it got a subtle shout out in The Legend of Zelda A Breath of the Wild's E3 build. When Link installs a new ability to his suspiciously Switch-like Sheikah slate, the guidance stone contains a bunch of scrolling ancient characters of the Sheikah language. The text reads, "Now loading, do not turn off, all your base are." It would change to a reference to the original NES game in the final build, but all the same, the fact that it's still being referenced today is a testament to it being a pillar of internet memery. Just gonna take it back a little bit there to the Keanu Reeves E3 moment. If you want to stay with us here at WhatCulture Gaming, why not check out this video on screen now for the best E3 moments that I made quite a while back at this point. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment down below about other memes that you found in video games. Subscribe, head over to whatculture.com for more content every day. I've been Cy for WhatCulture, and have a good week.